handing over to Hugo Imani, who is going to be cleansing our sacred time and space at this moment to make sure we've got the right energy and also positive vibration. So I'd like to be handing over to Ndugo Imani, and over to you, Ndugo Imani.
Asante sana, Dada. And I think you just need to look at your background, because for some reason we're losing you a little bit behind the honourable picture of King Henry. So I'll leave you to have a look for that. Okay, so yes, everyone, greetings, hamjambo, and asante sana for joining us. So as discussed, what we're going to do is we're going to go for a ritual called Mabadaliko Yana Shati, which in Kiswahili means changing the energy. Okay, so and this is one of the practices that can be used in African spirituality. There's many practices, many traditions, all have the same theme, all have the same direction, all have the same ideas and principles underneath them, but they're called different things in different languages, and so it's giving respect to all other traditions is there, but this is the one that we use. Always with African spirituality, it's not about coercion. So if this is the first time that you've seen this and you would rather just listen rather than participate, that's absolutely fine. And if you do want to participate, that's fantastic. But I would ask, though, because there's as many of us here, I'll ask Dada Vanya and Mama Bello to represent all of us so that they run through the ritual with us. But of course, you'll be muted, and of course, do it wherever you are if you wish to. So let me share my screen and we'll take it from there. Okay, so go back. Right, so Mama Bello, can you see that on screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so Mabadiliko Yani Shati, change of energy, Kiswahili, and in Kiswahili, because that's the language that we use in the Pan-African Congress movement, because that is, we are the belief that if there was a lingua franca of a united Africa, that Kiswahili would be the language that we should be using, because so many of our people do use it already. Right, so I will begin. Oh yes, and everything that I say will be on screen, and there will be translations there, so you can follow, because we use this not only for us to just become familiar with our practices, but also as a teaching exercise as well. Right. Kubadilisha nguvu sasa, tunawashukuru wote, mamlaka na mababu, kuuliza kwamba tuna uhusiano wa karibu na kwamba watasaide katika kuonyesha malengo yetu. To change energy, we now thank the all, the powers and the ancestors, to ask that we have a closer connection with them and that they assist us in manifesting our objectives. And in order for us to change that energy, we're going to breathe together, because breath is life, and it's through our breath, it connects us to our higher selves, which is an aspect of the all, the creator, and links us to the ancestors and to each other, and helps us to be calm and present and in one accord with one another and open to the vibrations. So going to do is breathe together, and I'll ask Mama Bello, is there a number between 1 and 9 that you're resonating with or vibrating with that we can use?
Sorry, 9.
9. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so we're going to use 9. 9 is the spiritual quantity for completion. What we're going to do is we're going to breathe together. We're going to use something called kettle drum breathing. So when we breathe out, we pull our stomachs in, and that forces lungs from our the force of the air from our lungs, and then we relax the stomach, and the air rushes in through our nose, and so we're getting a full breath, a full cleansing breath, and that's one. Okay, and I'll count in Kiswahili so we keep time. Okay, so first of all, we breathe out. As we do, make sure we're sitting straight, feet flat on the floor if we can, and palm of our hands on our thighs if we wish. Eyes open or closed. Breathe in. Moja. Breathe out. Pull the stomach in. Relax. And breathe in. Mbili. Breathing out. Through the mouth. Pull the stomach in. To your lungs. Relax the stomach. Breathe in to the nose. Tatu. Breathe out. Relax. Breathe in. In there. Breathe out. Relax. Breathe in. Tana. And breathe out. Should be feeling more calm and present. Relax. Breathe in. Sita. Breathe out. Relax. Breathe in. Saba. Breathe out. Relax. Breathe in. Nane. And final time, breathe out. Relax and breathe in. Tisa. Okay, wonderful. And I'll continue. Ninaomba ya Mungu awote. And what we say together in Kiswahili is Sisi ni kitu kimoja. We are one, or we are the same thing. Understanding that what we call upon, the powers we call upon, the creator is not outside of us, it is us. And we're calling upon that power and that energy within us. So I'll say again, Ninaomba ya Mungu awote. Sisi ni kitu kimoja. Ninaomba ya Nebacha. Sisi ni kitu kimoja. Ninaomba kanuni na nguvu ya Papa Legba. Sisi ni kitu kimoja. Ninaomba kanuni na nguvu ya Mami Wata. Sisi ni kitu kimoja. Ninaomba kanuni na nguvu ya Shu. Sisi ni kitu kimoja. Ninaomba kanuni na nguvu ya Tefnut. Sisi ni kitu kimoja. Ninaomba kanuni na nguvu ya Nut. Sisi ni kitu kimoja. Now we go on to the partner tree, the Kemetic tree of life, the company of the aspects of the all. Ninaomba kanuni na nguvu ya Geb. Sisi ni kitu kimoja. Ninaomba kanuni na nguvu ya Alset. Sisi ni kitu kimoja. Ninaomba kanuni na nguvu ya Sebek. Sisi ni kitu kimoja. Ninaomba kanuni na nguvu ya Heteru. Sisi ni kitu kimoja. Ninaomba kanuni na nguvu ya Haru. Sisi ni kitu kimoja. Ninaomba kanuni na nguvu ya Herakuti. Sisi ni kitu kimoja. Ninaomba kanuni na nguvu ya Maat. Sisi ni kitu kimoja. Ninaomba kanuni na nguvu ya Sakar.
Sisini
Kitu Kamoja.
Ninambakanina nguvu ya Tahuti.
Sisini
Kitu Kamoja.
Ninambakanina nguvu ya Alsa.
Sisini
Kitu Kamoja.
And finally, Ninambakanina nguvu ya Amen.
Sisini
Kitu Kamoja.
Yeah. And now we've given thanks to the all, our higher selves, the powers. We can now give thanks unto the ancestors, but first of all, those on our direct bloodline. If they weren't there, they weren't alive, then we wouldn't be here. So I'll begin. Nina Omba, Mama Yangu, Audrey Mae Kelly, Baba Yangu, Edgerton Reed, Bibi Yangu, Keter Reed, Sisini Kitu Kamoja. Dada Vanya, is there any in your direct bloodline that you would wish to call upon?
Granddad Riley and Nanny Riley, Vivian Watson, cousin Yvonne, Auntie Girlie, Aunt Sue, and many, many more.
Sisini
Kitu Kimoja.
Kamoja. Beautiful. Mama Bello, is there anybody in your direct bloodline that you wish to call upon?
Certainly, mother and father, Christine Magloire and Yves Auguste, grandparents, Sylvie Prunier and Louis Auguste, Julienne Donette and Joseph Domerson, and all their great-great-great-great-grandparents. Sisini
Kitu Kamoja.
Moja.
And now we're giving thanks unto those in our direct bloodline. We can give thanks to those who inspire us, who left us a tremendous legacy. Again, I'll begin. In Amba, Mazay, the Honourable Marcus Mazar Garvey, Amy Ashwood Garvey, Amy Jacques Garvey, Marcus Garvey Jr., Fred Hampton, Mark Curry, Queen Mother Moore, Harriet Tubman, Nsut Iti Hatshepsut, Winnie Mandela, John Magufuli, Mulimu, Julius Nyeri, Harriet Tubman, Sisini Kitu Kamoja.
Sisini Kitu Kimoja.
Dada Vanya, anybody you wish to call upon?
Nana Bonsu, the Honourable Malcolm X. That's it so far. Sisini Kitu Kimoja.
Mama Bello?
Woman la prophétesse. I will call on François Ferdinand Henry. We'll call on Mambo Almina. We'll call on all the Dedes who organize and all the troops that were led by all the female warriors led by Marie-Jeanne. Sisino
Kamoja. Wonderful. And now we're giving thanks unto those who inspire us. We can give thanks unto those who there's too many to mention, or we don't know all their names, but we'll try. Ninaomba Mababia Mangamazi, those who died and fought in the Mangamazi. Sisini Kitu Kamoja.
Kitu Kimoja.
Ninaomba Mababia Watia Gulavita, Gulavita, Takivita, the Asian Revolution, Kingdom of Hayti. Sisini Kitu Kamoja.
Sisini Kitu Kimoja.
Ninaomba Mababia Watia, First Nations of Australia, Papuans, Melanesians, Tasmanians, Black Polynesians, now Indus Kush. Sisini Kitu Kumoja. Ninaomba mababu ya wanachama ya PSM, ASHO, Freedom and Land Party, Universal Legal Improvement Association, African Communities League, SWAPO, APLA, Freedom and Land Party, Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. Sisini Kitu Kumoja. Ninaomba mababu ya watu mataifa ya Taseti, Nubia, Kemet, Kush, Shangamaya Dynasty, taifa ya Mosai, taifa ya Benin, taifa ya Zulu, taifa ya Zimbabwe, Maroons kwa Caribbean, North America, na South America. Sisi ni kitu kimoja. Ninaomba mababu ya watu ya San, Twa, na Hutu, the First Peoples. Sisi ni kitu kimoja. Ninaomba wanaishi ambao watatetea sisi. Na wale mababu ambao bado hawajazaliwa. Sisi ni kitu kimoja. And what we end on is the words of power and manifestation on screen. We're very careful of what we say, because what we say we bring into manifestation and into reality depending on our character and our will. So I'll begin, I'll read, I'll say it, and then if you can follow after me. Mapenzi wote ni mapenzi yangu.
Mapenzi wote ni mapenzi yangu.
Hakuna mwanzo na hakuna mwisho.
Hakuna mwanzo na hakuna mwisho.
I'll take this bit a little bit slower. Naomba ufahamu.
Naomba
Ufahamu.
Wangu ya wote.
Wangu ya wote.
Uendelee kukua.
Uendelee kukua.
Nguvu zote kwa watu wetu.
Nguvu zote kwa watu wetu.
Anuk, amen.
Anuk,
Amen.
The will of the all is my will. There is no beginning and there is no end. May my understanding of the all continue to grow. All power to our people. I am. Amen. Asante sana. Jamal, thanks very much. Thanks very much, family. Over to you, Dada Vanya.
Asante sana Ndigo Imani. And thank you very much. Seeing lots more people coming into our Zoom sessions. And that's a reflection of how many people are here, just to hear how much our brothers and sisters are here to learn more about the great man, King Henry I of Hayti. I'm now about to introduce and do an introduction, and I will do as much justice as I can. I'm going to make it as very brief as possible, simply because she's got so much information to share. But her wealth of knowledge and experience, I just could go on for a whole kind of conversation in terms of this whole session. We'll pan for that. So I've got here the historian, the Pan-African historian with an in-depth knowledge of Haitian history, an educator of our people around the world, a highly esteemed writer, as well as a community activist who's led, nurtured, supported, guided our people on an international scale in terms of making sure they're being nurtured in terms of having betterment for themselves. I'd like to welcome Mama Bayyinah Bello, the founder of the Haitian humanitarian organization, Fondation Felicité, and inspired again by another great African warrior queen, and that's after Marie Claire, and especially in terms of the whole aspect around nurturing and supporting and educating and making sure lives are better for each and every one of us as Pan-Africans around the world. So over to you, Mama Bello, and Mama Bello will be starting off with the lecture, I should say lecture, but more of a talk around who is the amazing King Henry I of Hayti. Thank you, Mama Bello.
Thank you very much, Dada Vanya. Ibo lele, o, Ibo lele o mayam magamun pajwe o. Ibo lele. Ibo lele o. Ibo lele o mayam magamun pajwe o. This song is the song that brings memory. When we fail to remember, if we do not know what happened in the past, we have no way of understanding the present and absolutely disqualify to chart the future. So, in our belief system, every time we sing Ibolele, the principle of memory of humanity, it strengthens our own memory. So, in the name of the Most High, residing as the tiniest spark in each one of us, in the name of spirits of space, time, action, energy, vibration, frequency, the essential of all life forms, and with their permission, I greet you. And if there is an elder in the room, or an elder older than myself, I await your permission to pursue. If not, I assume that I am the oldest and I give myself permission to continue. I am Bayyinah Bello, daughter of Marie-Christine Domerson and Yves Auguste, granddaughter of Julienne Donette and Joseph Domerson on the maternal side, Sylvie Prunier and Louis Auguste on the paternal side. We have been blessed to dive deep into seventh generation with Adelina Lévesque and Emperor Faustin I in Haiti, in Haiti's Second Empire. Thank you to the Pan-African Congress movement for choosing to celebrate the amazing King of Haiti, King Henry. Before looking at who the amazing King Henry of Hayti is, allow me to share a couple of essential concepts. Life, as we understand it, is made of three vital elements. Everywhere you turn, you'll find those three elements present: time, space, action. Time, we have really very little control over it. We have no control over how long we will breathe. We have no control how long we will be on the earth. We have no control about whether it will rain or sunshine. No matter how you take the word time, you do not control it. Space, you have limited control over space. You could determine to live in this street rather than that one, or live in this country rather than this one. But you are on a space called planet Earth, and you don't have too many choices there. So action is the one element of life that we have full power over. Determining what and how we think, what and how we speak, what and how we do, that's where our power lies. And until we understand that, we will waste a lot of time, space. Before going any further, let's take a quick look at the Euro-Christian behavior on our planet. Euro-Christians have warred upon each other for centuries prior to them knowing there were other people. When they thought they were the only people there, they war with each other, kill, enslave, slaughter. Everything they have done to us, they had more than 1,000-year practice of doing it to each other. So they were not new at it. That is their way of existing. That is their lifestyle, their mental structure. In fact, when they meet people, observe it in what they call history. When they meet a people, if you are kind, hospitable, and humane, they declare you are naive. If a people take disposition to defend and protect self from your Christian lies, ruse, and wanton violence, they label that people savage or cannibal. So when you're reading their text, be clear on their way of interpreting so you can come out with more. So quickly, what happened on the island of Haiti? In 1492, they claim, they invaded the island of Haiti. On that island, 12 group of people lived there. Arawak, Tainos, Siboney, Chirpi, etc., etc. And these different people lived in pretty good harmony with each other. So once this invasion of Euro-Christians on our land, they set out to destroy all the people that were there. And between 1492 and 1503, that's 11 years, just 11 years. Their scholars claim between 2.5 and 10 million people were on the island prior to their invasion. Well, by 1503, all of them declared that there was but 100,000 people still alive on the island. So that would mean that these people slaughtered between 2.4 and 9.9. Since I wasn't there, I don't know what's the right number, but they have all these numbers and they're always experts on everything. Don't ask me how they counted, because at the time, Europeans didn't even have 10% people who knew how to read and write, but yet they had all this expertise to count everybody everywhere in the world. We'll see. We have to think. So anyway, let's pretend we accept their numbers and that there were, let's take the smallest number, 2.5 million people on the island. So by 1503, there is but 100,000 people left. Isn't that a crime against humanity? Think about it. And this is just one island. There are hundreds of islands in the Caribbean. So, after slaughtering these people, the good Christians from Europe decided that they would go to Africa and kidnap our families and drag them to this island that they now have named. The island's name was Haiti, had been Haiti for more than 4,000 years. But now they misname it Hispaniola. And they do all the slaughtering on Hispaniola. And now they go kidnap Africans and bring them to Hispaniola to turn them into slaves, into, I can't say beast, because beasts have more rights in the structure. But anyway, many of them would say very proudly that the system was so wicked, the Euro-Christian slavery system was so wicked that few people could survive in it for more than 15 years. Most people barely made it 10 years in there. And they're proud. So we have to understand what kind of people we're dealing with. So here they are, slaughtering all the natives of the native that were on the island, go to Africa, kidnap millions of our family members, bring them there to slaughter. Who's counting? Who has the numbers? How many millions of us were brought to this island. Can we trust the numbers that the criminals give us? Come on, let's think a little bit. If I am doing the killing and I tell you I only killed 9 people in your family, are you really going to take my word for it? Think, people, we're supposed to be intellectuals. Be careful what we say, as Ndugu Imani told us in the beginning. Be careful what we repeat. So this is the base of what's going on in this island. Now, the various European forces, and notice I don't say power, they have no power. Violent, aggressive, thieves, liars do not operate from power. They operate from force. So the various Euro-Christian forces fought each other, trying to say each one wanted the island for themselves. And after over 100 years of fighting between French and Spanish, they agreed to sign a treaty and split the island into 2 colonies. One colony is called Hispaniola, with the capital city Santo Domingo, and the other colony is called Saint-Domingue, with the capital city Cap Français. So now, they think they've got it all down packed, but our people continue the war, actually, from 1492 to 1803, 312 years, we warred against these people, whoever they may be. The British tried to step on the island too. We whipped the British as well. So, while Euro-Christian slavery system dominated a large portion of the land of our planet Earth, this man, Christophe Henri of Bambara-Wout, he is from Souche, he comes from Bambara people, born on the island of Grenada, stolen from his mom by slavers, traveled to Saint-Domingue, went to Savannah, Georgia in the United States to fight in the family feud between USA and British. See, I never refer to that little battle between cousins as a revolution. It was not. Words have meaning. We cannot talk about the US Revolution. What fundamental thought was there before and after? None. Slavery was there before and slavery continued after. Even Black people who fought for independence, so-called, after they went back to being slaves. So what are we talking about? We're supposed to be thinking people. So we must choose the words we use. So it's a family feud. I don't know if I pronounced this word, but it's a battle between family members. So the British cousins and the US cousins fought with each other because they each wanted to have more privileges, more money, more goods, more slaves. So ultimately, the so-called USA folks won, but Haitians went to war to help. And one such Haitian is King Henry. He fought in Savannah brilliantly. And then throughout his life, he's always doing a business. Obviously, this is a man of commerce, of money, of economics. In Savannah, he set up a business. Then he moved to Florida and set up another business. Then he went back to what was then Saint-Domingue. And when he returned, though had been a lieutenant in the army, though he had money, had a lot of respect, well, in that slavery system, they wouldn't give him any kind of a decent job because he's a Black man. So then they gave him, the only job he could find was to take care of horses in a stable. So he took it because he believed in working, even though he didn't need the salary that was being paid. But work was important, so he went to work. And as he went to work in Hotel La Couronne, remember, there is no such thing as chance. Everything has meaning, whether you know it or not. Why would it be that the only place he found work was a hotel named The Crown? Isn't life telling us something before it happens? So he becomes a stable boy at this hotel. Little by little, they begin to recognize his talents. He started serving in a restaurant. He went on to become the manager of the restaurant. And he went on and on. And at some point, the owner and the practice, the tradition in that hotel is that the owner eats in 22 karat gold silverware or tableware. So the owner got scared when the revolution started. So the owner told him, said he wants to sell. And Christophe, who had the money, bought Hotel La Couronne, the Crown Hotel. So now he is eating in gold tableware. He is living already, I would say, even better than most kings at the time. And he's going to expand that hotel to become the largest hotel in the Caribbean. But he doesn't stick there. He goes into the boat business. He buys one boat. The first boat he buys, he calls it the fleet. One boat, the fleet. Soon he had more than 60 boats. When the revolution really started warming up, Napoleon wrote to him and said, "Don't you dare be part of the revolution. You have your child in school in my country. If you go into the revolution, you'll never see your boy again." Christophe replied, "My wife is gorgeous. We will have many children." So Francois Ferdinand Henry, who was studying in France, barely 11 years old, was murdered by French government because his daddy was into the revolution fighting for freedom. Now, these are the people who want to teach us about human rights. When you don't know history, you cannot take good decision in the present. So, Francois Ferdinand is killed. The king has 3 other children eventually, 2 girls and a boy. And the boy, Jacques Victor, is named after Emperor Jacques or Jean-Jacques Dessalines. And the wife of Jean-Jacques Dessalines is the godmother of Jacques Victor. So we see how at the head of the country, there is good relationship among the leaders. They're not one biting the other. When Dessalines was getting married, Toussaint Louverture was the representative of his wife. And Toussaint's wife came in as Dessalines' mom. So look at all those details as to how they live with each other. That shows us what true leaders are capable of and what unity is all about. So, who is the amazing King Henry of Hayti? Let's look at the man. All right, we already seen a young man from Bambara ethnic group, born in Grenada, which is why it's important for us to go learn more about Grenada so we can better integrate that part of his life into his biography in the future. We also need to learn more about the Bambara people, the Bambara, the Peul. Today, mostly you'll find the Bambaras in Guinea, some in Nigeria as well. So we need to understand when we hear, somebody's from Bambara, you have to learn who the Bambaras are, what's the culture, so you can understand the behavior of the individual better. So, as a man, he is 26 when he marries Marie-Louise Croix-David from Wanamette. Marie-Louise is a Black woman. She's 16, raised in a family, a free Black family. She knows how to play the piano. She's well educated. She knows how to read and write. Never been a slave. And that's who Christophe Henry marries at the age of 26. So he's 10 years older than his wife. They get along from all appearances. Of course, we don't have all the details, but from all appearances, these people seem to get along very well. And one element in particular marked me is during the crowning of King Henry, everyone who was involved was telling King Henry that the king must first arrive in his huge blah blah with this crown on his head and blah blah and this that and a 20 feet something train. I don't know what you call it. You know, he has a cape that hangs 20 feet behind him. Well, and then the king will come. King Henry said, no, my wife and I will go hand in hand, same level. We're not having one behind the other. And so different decisions like that help us to understand, these people, they had a very special kind of relationship. They read a lot at night together. She would read the paper out loud. So thanks to her being a well-versed in reading and whatnot, that helped to keep the Christophe Henry well aware of what's going on in the world. It's not somebody who doesn't know. Also, the fact that he has a boat business, his boats are going everywhere in the world. So he must know before he can send a boat to France or to the United States or send boats to Africa, like when he was later when he's crowned, he's going to send his boats to go get military female warriors to come and assure the security of the queen. If you had no knowledge what's going on in the world, how would you know where to send for female military women, for military women? So, see, all of these things show us how aware the person is. His boats would go all the way to India. His boats went to Asia and collected goods to be sold in the Americas, all over the Americas. So this is a well-aware man, well-informed person. And when he becomes head of state and then later king, we're going to see in the way that he does things that he is very knowledgeable about what's going on in the world. At some point, Haitian boats are going all over the sea, and more than 1/3 of goods sold to the United States are arriving on Haitian boats. That's a lot of boats. When he becomes king, he takes 10 of his boats and donate to the nation. How many times have you heard that a ruler takes some of his business and donate to the nation to start the nation's fleet? And eventually, Haiti's fleet, at the end of his term, Haiti's fleet is going to be more than 200, something like 213 military boats and 200 commercial boats. So Haiti had over 400 boats. And all started because the king offered some of his own boats to the nation and put people that were qualified to run the boats properly. So these are the lessons we learn from observing this man. Discipline, vision is a must with this man. He is at his office as king. He arrives at his office every morning at 6 a.m. The law is the higher your rank, he had an entire nobility, kings, princesses, dukes, marquis, etc., etc. But the law is the higher your rank, the earlier your day must start. How many places have you heard that? So the king was the first person in his office at 6 a.m. and his day's work was 14 hours. He has the longest day of work. And after his 14 hours as king in his office, he would still go to big projects like when they were building the citadel. The workers would leave at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m., depending on the season. And after they go, the king, when he's finished his day as king, would go and advance the masonry work to get the citadel finished sooner. So he would contribute at night, put in a couple of hours in the mason work at the citadel. How many times you've heard of a king who does labor work while he pays people to do what they do, but he goes in at night to advance the work? These are examples of our people that we need to know. So as a man, we see discipline, vision, regularity, self-control. This is not somebody that you will make him do. He knows what he's going to do, and he is careful to stay in his line. As a military man, certainly, if he's gone from soldier to general, obviously we cannot question his value as a military person. And we know that he participated brilliantly, according to Dessalines, brilliantly he participated in the final battle, the Battle of Vertières, for Haiti's independence. As an entrepreneur, somebody who knows how to make money, how to do business, he did it in his own life personally with all the various business that he created or ran. And then we see in the nation, he carried on. He run institutions just the same way he run his business. Like when he gives those 10 boats to this guy, he tells them, you're going to be in charge of those 10 boats. You know, I started with 1 boat and now I have more than 60. So I can give 10 to the nation. Now you starting the nation's fleet with 10. So that means it has to increase regularly. So he demanded that the business grew, the business of the boats for the nation. When we look at what he did in barely 14 years, barely, the man builds a citadel capable of housing more than 20,000 people. He builds palaces in all different places in the country, builds schools, build hospitals, create a code, the Henry Code, to run the country. In this code, it is said, if the mother of a child dies, then the nation must become the mother of that child. If the father dies, then the nation must become the father of this child. He made it a law, obligation for everybody to go to school. He would, if he met a young person, 8, 9, 10 years old, in the street during school time, school hours, school days, he would stop, pick up that child and say, take me to your parents. And when he goes there, he tells the parents, this child is of age to go to school. This time I bring him back to you. But if it should happen a second time, the penalties will fall on you. So children were cared for in that nation. He also, this is somebody who didn't want wealth only for himself. The salaries that he paid enable us to see how he wanted a prosperous nation, not just prosperity for himself and then the rest of us can starve to death. No, he wanted it for us all. And within a few years, the capital city under King Henry had 7 theaters functioning every day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year. In order for theater to function 7 nights a week, what kind of salary must the people be earning? You think about it. If I don't know what I'm going to feed my children, do you think I'm going to go to somebody's theater? No. So if 7 theaters are functioning, the largest one receives 3,000 guests per night. 3,000 per night. So that means these are people whose salaries take care of their business comfortably, so they can go ahead and entertain themselves and relax themselves as often as they want. So those are the things we have to understand. Not just read, oh yeah, there were 7 theaters in the city, blah, blah, blah. No, 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 no. You have to understand. If there are 7 theaters functioning, that means people are earning a salary that enables them to do that, to keep 7 theaters working. So entrepreneurship is 100%. Leadership is clear. This is a man who motivates people, to encourage people to do things. He did not take a stick to make you do. He inspired. For example, when he wanted to build the Citadel, which is the greatest wealth in Haiti, he made big pictures, all different places. He was into marketing before marketing existed. He made big pictures of what it was going to look like. And he would say there were sentences like, a great people deserve a great construction. So everyone was encouraged to donate time or participate in the work of the construction of the Citadel. In very far away towns, stones, different things, people made huge lines to carry things from one place to the Citadel. So a great leader able to motivate people. Then a great king. The man was, we see already his position, his wife and him walked together to be crowned. We saw that, very important, continuation. In his crowning ceremony, immediately after the king and queen, we found Empress Félicité, Dessalines' wife, walked in the procession as first Empress of the nation. So it's not somebody who said, this president is dead, I don't want to have anything to do. No, 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 no. And we found many of Dessalines' children working in the government of King Henry. So as we look at the functioning, the different people involved, we would know, like many people try to write and say that King Henry was part of the plot to kill Dessalines. Well, I don't know, I wasn't there. But what I have observed, Empress Félicité is a woman who's very clear on what's what and well informed. Different people have invited Empress Félicité. She refused to get in touch with them, to be in contact with them, based on their participation in the assassination. So, if Empress Félicité believed for 1 minute King Henry was involved in assassinating Dessalines, I don't believe she would have moved to Cap-Haïtien for 2 months, stay with them, help them plan their crowning, and even after, because Queen Marie-Louise was recently a mother, stayed with her to help her until, so she spent 2 months with them before going back to her own home. So obviously, she didn't feel that way. I wasn't there, but I'm looking at her behavior and I'm being guided by her behavior. Because even down the road, when Empress Félicité is 108 years old, She is invited by Emperor Suluk to come and eat at the palace with him in Port-au-Prince. She refused, and she's clear. Her letter says, I will not participate with people whose hands are soiled by the blood of founders. The woman is 108 years old, and she writes to a big chief, emperor, who could do anything, but she writes clearly. But it was a more direct thing, because the emperor had signed the execution of children, grandchildren. Belair, there was a grandson of Toussaint. There were different people who had the blood, the lining of the founders that were executed, and that's why she refused to deal with Suluk. So what are we going to, if she refused to deal with people who executed the grandchildren of founders, what would be her attitude with people who executed founders? So when I look at all of this, my position is, nope, the empress didn't think there was anything there. I have no reason to think, no matter what other people write. So as a king, we find a man determined to go on with the freedom progress. Dessalines said to us, we have on 1804, January 1st, 1804, we have accomplished military and political freedom. All the other freedoms must be gained. So Christophe said, all right, economic freedom is a must. And he took that upon himself. He took upon himself construction freedom, freedom to put things that will stand there after we're gone, to put structures that will tell the world that we had been here. And here is what we accomplished. So when I look at the work of this man, he did the construction but mostly his biggest thing was the economic freedom. When he went out and minted our own gold and silver coins, when he made it a business to mint silver coins and gold coins for other nations in the Americas, Haiti had the best, during King Henry, we had the best system of firefighting at sea. Firefighting at sea was a big, fires at sea, or when boats were on fire, was a big problem. And Haiti had a whole fleet of firefighting boats. So when a boat was in trouble at sea, Haiti would go and help. And they tell you the big difference. This is a Venezuelan paper that I found there that says the big difference, if the US come to help you, they ask you for the money first, but you may not have it there. You didn't anticipate that you were going to be caught in this situation. But with Haiti, they help you first, and then you pay them later. So most people, when they see a fireboat coming, they hoped that it was Haitian, because we had better terms to help people with that situation. This man, all the roads that were built during Christophe's time till today, you can easily see the difference between the corridors the colony built and the roads that the king built. Because the law was every road built had to be able to enable 18 horses together, side by side, to go on the road. So he wasn't going to take roads that only 2 horses could cross. So we see what thinking people are like. People who want the advancement, leaders who want the advancement of their people. And the first element, me, from studying King Henry, I understand the number one thing that tells you about what a leader wants for people is the salary that are paid. If your salary, the leader's salary, is 2,000 times that of the average person, obviously, this is not somebody who cares about whether you eat or not. So we have to learn to study these things. Don't just look at appearances. Take the numbers, do the math, look at the proportions. That will tell you something about leaders. So I believe I have looked at the man, the military guy, the entrepreneur, the leader, the king. I've given you a general idea, and we could certainly, from this point, begin the most interesting, the conversation rather than the monologue. I think the monologue could be ended here.
Thank you, Mama Bello. And this part of the session is open to everyone in terms of participating in a conversation around who is the amazing King Henry I. There's been more people who are now here on our Zoom session today, and there's also been a couple of questions that have been asked. So I've got a question here, and
excuse me 1 minute before we begin. Don't think you don't know about him. You're just learning about him. Christophe runs through your blood veins. Trust yourself, and you will bring the memory of who he was by effortlessly. And then I will send again the song to help us to remember. Ibolele, ibolele o, ibolele o mayama bajwe o. Remember, it's in you. You can remember. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dada Vanya.
That's fine. Thank you again. Once again, just drawing out the learning from ourselves. So I've got a number of comments here as well from Sister Donna Barrett, mentioning beautiful in terms of the singing that you've been doing. I've also got from Indigo Amari, and the question might have been answered, but just in case it hasn't, he's asked, Ibolele is amazing. Can someone, yourself, tell more about it?
Okay. All right. Ibolele is the principle. When we talk of loi in Haiti, we talk of principles. Principles that are alive in each one of us, and that when we are conscious of it, we can put it to work in our daily life. When we are unconscious, we may not even notice the talents and competences that we do have. So, Ibolele is the memory of humanity. There is nothing that you need to know that Ibolele cannot tell you of what has happened. Ibolele can bring it up because it's already in you. So she can help you to take conscious, to become lucid of the information. That's what Ibolele does. That's the principle of Ibolele.
Thank you, Mama.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Was somebody just trying to speak or ask a question?
That's me.
Indigo Amari's got a question.
Bit of follow-up. You say Ibolele as a she. Is Lele the name of the loi?
Ibolele is the name of the loi, and yes, she is perceived when we personify the principle, then it's a feminine principle. All the principles could be either feminine or masculine. When we say Ogu, we're talking of a masculine principle. When we say Ezili is a feminine principle. So all the principles can fall into either or be androgynous or be twins.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mama Bello.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes. I just want to say thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So we've heard more about the advisor, We've heard more about King Henry I, about his discipline, his vision in terms of, especially with his family as well, determination, focus, and knowledge, and also in terms of how he explored around building the Kingdom of Hayti and the infrastructure that's in place. Just in terms of moving on with that, Mama Bello, who would have inspired him in terms of doing that? Where would he have got this kind of idea about what it is in terms of the creativity around building the Kingdom of Hayti and deciding to have this ambition towards making this happen?
Well,
In your
first
opinion.
of all, everything is inside of us, number one. Number two, we do say that he is a Bambara root. Who are the Bambara people? Have we looked at what they have built in Africa? What kind of people they were? Okay. We need to, today we are conditioned to limit, when we say knowledge or science or anything like that, we look, you're a Christian. But these people, these are Johnny come latelys. We had been building constructions, huge constructions, for thousands and thousands of years before they knew how to do anything. And their specialty is lies, ruse, violence, and stealing. So very often what we think, what they present as their invention is something stolen from us. But if we are lazy and don't study, then we're not going to recognize this is our own stuff. So what would have inspired King Henry? From inside of himself, number one. Number two, from his Bambara tradition. The Bambara, according to Amadou Mpate Ba, for example, that's the primary source for me for learning when I wanted to learn about the Bambara and the Pearl people. He wrote a lot about their tradition, how they viewed schooling, what kind of education, etc., ruling. When we're talking about the Bambara had been part of the Mande Empire. Okay, Mande Empire is a huge African empire, and justice was a large part of the base of the Mande Empire. So if we do not study our own people's practices, traditions, artistry, we will always, for example, most people who write about King Henry in Haiti say, oh yeah, he was disciplined like the British, he did blah, blah, like the British, he did like the British. I don't see anything between him and the British. I don't see that. It's a lack of knowledge of Africa. Okay. When we look at people who are from Congo culture, they have a more relaxed type behavior. There's more, I can do this later. But when we look at the Pearl, when we look at the Abome people were very rigid, very disciplined. They didn't mess around within the nation, in nation running. We have to look at what was the tradition. So the discipline for me is not, he's from Bambara, so the discipline is normal. The type of king he was, he wouldn't speak in public. I've seen that in many traditions in Africa, where the leader does not speak in public. Like, for example, in Kano, when I lived in Kano in the 70s, the emir of Kano, when he comes to the public, he's not allowed to speak a single word. Now, to greet the emir, you have to lay down flat on the ground with your forehead on the floor. But you know how this thing is balanced? From that position, you could say anything you want to the emir. He cannot answer back, and he cannot take a decision to harm you. But from that position, if you stand up and say something that's out of order, they could take you right then and there. So we have to look at these things with our own mind, our own perception. So what I recognize, the big difference between, for example, Dessalines, who was the emperor, who would dance at everybody's dance, go everywhere at the party, eat in everybody's place, etc., etc. He had a more relaxed type. Whereas King Henry, this is the guy who's like this. Well, I have seen that in Africa, that type. So his inspiration must have come from what his mama taught him, from what he had inside of him, and probably dreams. There are many sources other than looking at people who go around creating genocide all over the world.
Thank you, Mama Bello. We now have Donna Barnett, Sister Donna Barnett. Could you just unmute your mic, and also, if possible, could you show your video as well? She's got a hat. She'd like to ask a question or make a comment. So I'm going to hand over to Donna Barnett. Greetings, sister. Greetings. Can you? Hello. Can you okay? Oh, we can hear you now. Just can't see you.
Yes, I was just about to express on this one. Unfortunately, the computer's having a moment. So technologies. I have to restart the computer, and lots of things are on there. So I apologize for that. I usually do like to have the camera. So yes, first I start greetings, and beautiful to be with everybody, to see everybody.
Greetings.
Santa Sana Ma, you've been speak. Now, what I have no idea, but you've inspired me to speak. And the Ibolele, what can I say on this? I find myself spontaneous moments. This song, I'll be out in nature or I'll be at home, and it just comes to me spontaneously. So I just wanted to give thanks for this, for your passing on and singing, expressing its meaning and its importance. And there's something I was speaking just now to do with, when we study or, study together, we get to see that in this context, or for this people, this is how this is the way things worked. And with another situation or another area within Africa, it would be completely different. And I think that's one of the things that it'd be nice and helpful to have more of these kind of conversations, because sometimes it can be, I don't know, the knowledge is not necessarily there or passed on.
We have difficulty understanding.
Sorry?
It wasn't clear. That's not coming out. The sound not coming out clearly.
Sorry,
Now you're clear. Now you're clear.
Oh, okay. It's the computer. I'm not too sure. Sorry, I'm not sure which part was not clear.
Repeat it all, sis.
It just flowed naturally, so
okay then.
Generally just flows.
Donna, it's Ndugumani here. The bit that we couldn't hear, I believe, was when you was talking about that there's different traditions, and it'd be nice to have conversations so we could understand where they come from and how things are differently. Something like that. That was kind of when it kind of went away.
Okay, sure. Asante Sana, thank you. Yes, I think, yes, essentially that. And perhaps they are happening to quite an extent, but I just haven't been part of that or missed that. But there was just something that struck me very important in what you were saying, that in this tradition, it will be done in this way. In another place, the person could lay on once he was laid on the ground, he could say anything. But that's, and to understand these differences, these nuances, and I get essentially that it's all within us. That's a very, very important thing for me. It's all within us. And it's just to ignite that, to remember that it's there. I hope that's been clear and
let me add this. Why do you think everywhere the Heureuse, the Euro-Christian, wherever they went, one of their two first laws, whatever you believe in, whatever divinity, whatever you believe in, that's crushed. You know, that's devil, that's no good, blah, 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 forget it. And B, stop speaking your language. If I forbid you to speak your language, I am working on you forgetting what you know. I am attacking your memory. And without memory, there isn't anywhere you don't understand the very present. So forget about building a future. So memory is key prior to doing anything. Ibolele teaches Legba how to open the door. Any leader who has no memory cannot lead anyone anywhere. Thank you. Yes, Brother Nkuma, I think you have your hand up.
Jumbo, brothers and sisters.
Jumbo.
It is a joy and privilege to be in this gathering. And in the short presentation of Mama Bello, she delivered not just messages, but historical connection. Because I learned so much in a very short presentation. And as I listen, it shows the character, the humanity of us as Africans, as displayed by your brothers and sisters in Haiti. Because can you imagine, you're on the high seas, your boat is on fire, and somebody turned up and said, this is the amount of money, pay up. And while you're looking for the money, your ship burned down. You have no ship. And they would say, look, put out the fire. And now let's talk about the money. And that has not been the only major account of the humanity of Asia. Because in the time of chattel slavery, when our brothers and sisters freed themselves, they didn't just sit back and say, okay, we're free, let's get on with it. That freedom was extended to everybody, not just us Africans. So the depth of our humanity, it is so profound when we're in charge of our own mind. And when we look at King Henry, his example, the Queen of England was one of the richest women in the world, if not the richest. With all her millions upon millions, not one penny come out of her purse to bury her. No, everybody is responsible for the burial. I'm not talking about the dead person. Dead person dead, can't do anything. But your relatives, they have to take up the bill. And not one penny come out of their coffers. And we talk about billion, maybe the richest funeral we've ever heard about. And as Mama Bello said, how can you lead with your belly full when the people you're leading have no food? So when we as Africans, in charge of our own minds, look at how we live, how we conduct our affairs, and always at the forefront is our great humanity. And of course, we extend that to everybody and they use it to beat us. But we cannot be nothing other than humans. So I'm very grateful, my sister, for in that very, very short space of time, you have delivered so much knowledge. Because with all the books around me, that I would like to read and haven't got time to read. This is a history lesson to which I'm very grateful.
Thank you, Brother Pepikai. And we've got Brother Ndugu Imani who's going to ask a question next. But before that happens, Brother Gary Flerzia has asked a question twice, which is slightly off topic. And hopefully in that Mama Bello, you'll be able to respond to this. So it says here, this is slightly off topic, but who were the different groups of people who lived with the Tenas in the beginning? And he's mentioned here, he's also heard of an Iwa called Joe Boy. What does he represent?
Oh, I do not know. Joy Boy? No, I don't know.
Okay. Is that to both points, Mama Bello?
What was the first one?
The first one was about the different groups of people who live with the Tainos in the beginning.
Oh, there were 12 different ethnic groups. So the Arawak, the Siboney, the Turpi, the Viens, the Carib, I don't have all 12 in my head, but yeah, there were 12 different groups. And one group was a group, the 13th group was a group of Africans. They were mostly from Phoenicia and Mali, who had been there for years, and who are the ones who taught the Tainos how to use, how to treat gold and make weapons, you know, like arrows with poison gold tips was one of the weapons that they had taught them how to do. So Africa was here way before the invasion.
Thank you, Mama Bello. Now over to you, Ndugu Imani.
Asante Sana, Dada Vanya, and of course Asante Sana, Mama Bello. And I think at the end we give a proper round of applause. We'll take ourselves off mute and give you a round of applause for, you know, sharing your great wisdom with us. I just want to say that somebody, Janika Joher just wanted to make a comment that thank you for sharing the duality, Mama. We are just dissecting this thought from Wayne Chandler's Ancient Futures. You're connecting dynamic dots today. Dua indeed, Nefer. So yeah, so people are getting a lot from what you're saying. I just really quickly say that from, you know, from having to working with you and studying on King Henry, there's some of the things that were so amazing that were at the point of his death, that he had a fortune of maybe something between $500 million, and his family were well provided for after his death, with millions of in our money, millions of dollars after his death. So, you know, the idea that if you are fighting for our people, it necessarily means that you have to be poor, that you cannot have abundance is a lie. And just to think that he did this all the time at the height of slavery, and so many world powers against. And just to think that the ships that were sailing the high seas, when a ship full of Haitians, black Haitians, arrived in Americas with all those goods, could the racist idea that Africans can't do anything we know that it's in their faces that wasn't true. So this is well known, but the idea of the Haitians were sending ripples about, you know, what Africans can do throughout the world. But Mama, the other point I just wanted you to talk about was the difference between Kingdom of Hayti and the Republic of Haiti, led by Pétion, who I've heard that the state of Haiti and many African states around the world, we can look at the Republic of Haiti and say that's where the rot was in, but the Kingdom of Haiti is where we, you know, was the exemplar. So if you could talk about a little bit about the difference between the two and why, and is that a fair statement?
Thank you. Before I talk about the Republic, the Kingdom, let me just say this about being rich. First of all, who's giving us these numbers as to, he had a 500 million, 3 billion, 6 billion, or about Mansa Musa being the richest man in the world till today, blah, blah, blah. We have to understand, when you're running a country, would they, for example, these people who says that King Henry was worth this many millions, the 400 boats that he built for the nation, and then his own business of 100 and something boats that he had, would all of this become one and become his own personal fortune? We have to really question everything that comes to us. I don't know that, in the case of Mansa Musa, I know that in the Empire of Mali of that time, that the Mansa means king or emperor. The Mansa is not allowed to wear gold. The Mansa is responsible for all the gold mines of the nation. And he sits on a gold throne of 22 karat pure gold. But he can never wear any gold jewelry or wear any gold on himself whatsoever. And one of the ways the Mansa would have to evaluate the value, to estimate the value of gold, if he sees that the people working with the smallest salary in his kingdom, he sees them with gold in their hair, in their braids, gold on their toes, gold everywhere, he says, there's too much gold in circulation. So he shuts down some of the gold mines. When he doesn't see these people with any gold or very little gold on them, then he figures it's time to put more gold on circulation. So, but gold is not his personal wealth. Gold is the nation. If they tell me that the Empire of Mali was and still is the richest nation, well, right now it's only the Republic of Mali, but everywhere where those gold mines are, they are still the richest people, richest nation. Yes, I will agree. But if they tell me that Mansa Musa is still today the richest man in the world, I say prove it. Demonstrate. Okay? And make the difference between what is his and what is the nation. So the same thing I would have to ask about, I would question about those declarations that they make today about King Henry. How do they go about calculating when under attack all the time? Now, so that's for the millions. So be careful. Don't swallow things. Don't repeat things again. I can't repeat it enough. I don't know. I know that he built tremendous wealth for the nation. I know that he was certainly a very comfortable man, but I don't know if he was a millionaire, a billionaire, and I do not have the elements to evaluate that. That's for that. Now, as far as the Republic, the kingdom, actually, Haiti is the only nation that has used all the various forms of government. There isn't a form of government that exists that we have not gone through it. We started out on October 8, 1804, by creating the empire. And please, they don't want you to say that. They always take you to the Republic, but they don't talk about the empire. And the letterhead of our emperor reads this way: Jacques, Emperor first of Haiti, Empire of Kingdom. And that's why they don't want to see. They don't want you to see it. We created an empire of freedom. So that means what? In my head, how I understand this, why would he create Empire of Freedom? Not the Republic of Freedom, not the Kingdom of Freedom, the empire. And he continuously said, in time, other nations will become free. In fact, he said, before naming the country Empire of Freedom, he sent delegations to Cuba, Jamaica, Puerto Rico to see what was their level of readiness for freedom. The delegations came back and said, they don't look like they are thinking about it yet. He says, they will ultimately. So anyway, so we create the Empire of Freedom. That means even if Cuba became free and created a republic, the republic can be part of the empire. If Puerto Rico created a kingdom, the kingdom can be part of the empire. And that's another thing that both Toussaint and Dessalines said. They said, one free island can easily be crushed. We need to have several islands become free. Together, we would be so much stronger. So in Dessalines' mind, creating the empire was so that the others would easily find a structure that they could fit into. The second, so the kingdom, so after Dessalines was murdered, Christophe, I would assume, my own mind is, he decided he's not gonna go empire because of what happened to Dessalines. So he was kingdom, he went kingdom, but he kept the same black and red flag. He kept the same spelling of the nation. He kept a lot of the laws that were created by Dessalines. He were in continuum in the kingdom. So obviously, they are of the same mind there. This is a continuation, but for various reasons, certain things had to change. Now, the Republic of Pétion. This is totally different. There is no more the vertical flag. A vertical flag are the colors are up. And then we said this in the beginning when we created the black and red flag in 1804. It was said, we representing a people standing, the black on the ramp, representing a people standing straight to determine what its future would look like. The red representing victory and the cost of that victory. Now, when Pétion creates its republic, the spelling of the name is changed. It's H-A-I-T-I. And the spelling of the name is changed. Then the flag is changed. It's the royal blue and red, different, the royal blue and a different red. Also, it is horizontal. Horizontal means you laying down. You come from standing up to laying down. And on top of this, down the road, another mulatto, Giffard, is going to take a white square and place over the red and the blue. And they tell our children the red and blue represent, the blue represent black people, the red represent mulattoes. Why would blue represent black people? Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that, so anyway, the kingdom lasted 14 years. The Republic of Pétion lasted 14 years. We do not have a single structure, edifice, or anything we can show for those 14 years. And you see the massive of what is built in the kingdom that till today, if Haiti can have anything to do with what they call this, when people come and visit, tourism. If Haiti has anything to do with tourism, it's thanks to all the structures that King Henry left. Pétion was there 14 years and left us nothing. His partner Boyer came after him 29 years and left us nothing. So what are we talking about?
Santi Sana, Mama. Santi Sana. Yeah, just to say as well, you know, thank you so much again, because in the UK it's Black History Month, so this is wonderful for us to start our celebrations on this history. So yes, beautiful. Thank you very much for answering that.
You're very welcome. Sister Azali, Brother Kofi, we haven't heard you yet. Kweku, we haven't heard you yet. Would like to hear you.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly, sir.
Okay. Glad to be meeting you, speaking for the first time. I heard a lot about you. And hope that some of the projects that we're carrying out here, in the United Kingdom, you will lend your wisdom, to it. But the question is, with all of this very, very rich history, which to me, touches me very much as somebody from the, indigenous Betel community in West Africa, from whom the voodoo, spirituality comes, the Ewe Fon Aja communities that make up, our indigenous Betel nation, from whom the voodoo comes. How is this, all of this shaping the presence of Haiti into the future in in a worsening global climate, where the American empire is becoming even more aggressively violent, and clearly when you look at what its leaders are now saying, we are seeing a repetition of the accusations of others of a nuclear strike, and that means that is what they are thinking. And with the resistance not stopping in Haiti, giving them very clear signals that our African people across the world, as you can see in Mali, you can see in Burkina Faso, are thinking geopolitically of the kind of alliances that they will see as more hostile, to the West. And Haiti is very much, within this frame. How is this history, this immense history of the making of the Haiti revolution, how is it shaping the present, and then pointing to the future in this particular global climate?
Okay. Thank you for your question. Number one thing that I react to is this thing of America, please, family, let's. This thing is US. I am an American. America is the continent. It's not a country. Just because they impose stealing the name of the continent for themselves, we do not have to use it that way. We must use our mind and make our choices. So, number one. Number two, as far as I'm concerned, this empire is at its wit's end. It's in its last days. If someone doesn't see that, well, too bad, but it is. The third thing I will say, Haiti has been at war. It took us 312 years of fighting the empire, whether it comes through a French face, British face, US face, or any other face that they bring, but it's one empire with many arms. If we don't see it that way, we can't fight it properly. Number one. Number two, so we spent 312 years fighting the empire before we could declare independence. After independence, the war continued, except that they came in, the empire came in with its the church, the Catholic Church, but the church in general is one church, no matter how many different sectors that they put into it. So the church comes in and create a school, and that school's main program is to un-Haitian the Haitian mind. understand what I'm saying. The Haitian who did 1802, 1803, that mindset has been in the process of being undone by the empire. We fought the French, we fought the British, we fought the Dutch, we fought the British, we fought the US. All of them come in to steal, and today even more. Canada is into it, Japan is in it. You know, the empire has many faces, many. So from let's say 1900, Haiti has been at war until today. But the biggest war is the war in the classroom and in the church, because that's where they mess up the minds of our future. And if we do not understand that, and this is done around the world, but we're speaking directly about Haiti, so I'm using Haiti as the example. But the same is true with Trinidad. I can remember when I first married in the 60s, the Trinidadian grandmother, she and I spoke fluently without speaking English. But after 1970, when they started school in Trinidad, the children in Trinidad no longer were allowed to speak the native tongue, which is identical to the Haitian. Okay, so Haitian, why? There's a very good reason, but you will not find it in the books. After slaughtering the entire population of Trinidad, the British came to Haiti and purchased 3,000 Haitians to restart the population. That's why Trinidadian and Haitian speak exactly the same. So, today, the empire, the key thing that you mentioned, there are things we have to understand. We are on his Zoom, his internet. There are things that we will not say. You have to understand that for our own protection, our people's protection. Okay, but I will only hint at this to you. You mentioned voodoo. That's very important. It was vital in the victories of 1803, and it will be vital in future victories. Don't give up your own belief system, because that's where all your weapon, your power, and your puissance lies.
Wow. Thank you, Mama Bello. We're swiftly, unfortunately, coming towards the end of this. So I've got a question from Brother Pepikai, also a question from Brother Gary Fluzia, and from Brother Tahaka. And I think we're going to have to be drawing it to a close with the questions, because there was another presentation to take place from yourself. Oh, Brother Pepikai hasn't got a question. So I'll go with the question from Gary Fluzia first, and then from Brother Tahaka. So the question is there any hidden history as to how Dominican Republic gained its independence? The official story is that it gained independence from Haiti, and before that it was Spanish Haiti. I think there's more to the story. So if you could enlighten us on that.
Forgive me, Spanish Haiti. I don't know that world. Okay. Very simple. I said it earlier. The island was invaded by Euro-Christians in 1492. Since then, all the different Euro-Christians fought to take it one from the other. Ultimately, the French and the Spanish signed a treaty in 1675, the Treaty of Ryswick. They agreed to split it and have 2 colonies there. So, when Haiti became independent, we made the entire island independent. Now, all of them massed up together and little by little try to sneak up, because, you know, as the nation is trying to structure. And so they started to get back on one side of the island, eastern side of the island. And by the time Dessalines was killed, then other people just didn't, because there's a natural mountain chain also that separate. So it was easy to just stay on one side. So some of them chose the easy way out. Obviously not leaders. But several Haitian governments did try. And ultimately, Boyer did rule over the entire island. So when they talk of independence from Haiti, they talk about that time where Boyer was the ruler over the entire island. You know, but since then, the Dominican builds the hatred and hate the Haitian, blah 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 stuff. You know, they just go on the Dominican. I must say Dominican government. Okay, Dominican people, Haitian people, in many times, many ways, many situations, they seem to get along pretty well. But as far as governments are concerned, it's a whole different story. So that's where we at now. Right now, the empire wants to use the Dominican Republic as its weapon to attack. Not just now, but it's been doing it for years, like poisoning our plants, coconuts, trees, creating all kinds of havoc in the country. So they use the Dominicans a lot for that.
So much information being shared. Now I'm going to hand over to Brother Tahaka. He's got a question.
Yeah. Okay, first I'd like to say Jumbo, Mama Bello. And am I coming through okay?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, okay. My question is brilliant presentation on King Henry. Now, if I wanted or anybody wanted to find out more about King Henry, I know we can Google it and bits and pieces of information will come up. But is there a definitive text? Is there a book that you would recommend? One. And the other part of the question is, as we can see from King Henry's days and the time of Dessalines, and so Haiti was a leading light. And today we see Haiti is portrayed as a very chaotic place. Lately on the news, it's been reported that Haiti is basically now being run by gangs. And the government, sitting government of Haiti have now asked for foreign troops to be sent in order to keep order. Could you just enlighten us a bit on the situation, what's happening now?
Mm-hmm. All right. As I just said a little while ago, the war is still on. Okay. We went through 312 years to have independence, and since early 1900, we are at war against the empire. All of them. The French will do their thing, the Canadians do their thing, but all of them have one thing in common: stealing the wealth of the country. And if you understand that, you will understand more clearly what is the recipe that they use. What is the Machiavellic recipe? The more they steal in Haiti, the more they see wealth in Haiti. Haiti is without doubt the richest country in the Americas. We have more petrol than Venezuela, something like 18 to 20 something times more petrol than Venezuela. We have diamond, we have gold, we have iridium, we have, you name it, we have it. Number one. So how do you steal a people's wealth? Same tactic that they use all the time. They bring in, Haiti don't have no weapon factory. So if there are $20,000 and $50,000 weapons in Haiti, and the average Haitian who owns these guns cannot pay a loaf of bread for their family, so how did they get them? There is one story that I'm sure did not make the big news. One time, a couple of rookie policemen arrested 2 or 3 white Americans with all kinds of sophisticated weapons in Port-au-Prince. Take them to the station, and like the higher-ups were afraid to even do the paperwork. And ultimately they did. But within the hour, the American ambassador, female ambassador, came down to the police station, took these Americans, these criminal Americans found with weapons, big-time war weapons in the country, which had been used, and took them to the airport, put them on American Airlines, and got to New York, let them off. And that's the usual story. You arrest a white criminal, you arrest an American, French, whatever criminal, and when you get, the ambassador or somebody come down, take him and take them away. Those poor Colombians who were accused of having killed the president of Haiti in July last year, they're still in jail. And no sight, because they don't have a country that can do the kind of criminal behavior that the empire people can do. If they were Americans, they would be gone within 24 hours. So we are a country at war, yes. And the more Haitians wake up to the fact that we are at war, the more efficiently we will be able to deal with it. But the other biggest crime they do in our countries, who is at the head of the country? These are chosen by the empire. These must do what the empire asks them to. They're usually the least qualified, the least intelligent, least this, least that, and that's who is chosen. And you have to do. But even when you just, like the last guy they killed, that was their men. They put him in. Probably the poor guy just hesitated on an order, and he was slaughtered. So that's the way the empire functions. We must wake up as adults. We must understand the world we're in. Haiti is just one example. It's not it. So yes, there is crime, there are gangs, there is all of that. Created, programmed, paid for, financed, supported by the empire. And that is done so we are muted on saying anything as they steal the iridium, the gold, the diamond, and since they're stealing the oil from under the ocean, creating regular earthquakes in the process. I hope I was clear.
Yes, it's very clear. And the other bit I'm saying is just a definitive text on King Henry. Is there one? Or
I'm sorry, that wasn't clear. I didn't pick up.
Now, is there like any lecture on King Henry, specific literature rather than just Googling?
Okay. I haven't seen anything that I would recommend. I haven't read anything that I would recommend, except you can get the Royal Almanac. His government used to publish every year from 1812 to 1820. They published the Royal Almanac every year. If you can find, some of them have been posted on the internet. That will help you to see the mind of this man. Also, Code Henri, the laws that the men established to run the country, will help you to understand better than anything I have read. See, I certainly could recommend to read what Aimé Césaire wrote about him. That's pure colonial foolishness. As much as I respect the brother, but hey, listen, the book is worth nothing. So look, with these people, we must find what they said, read what they wrote. We have a better idea of who they are.
Greetings. Thank you, Mama Bello. got quite a lot of questions starting to come up, and it's gone beyond the
As usual.
closing time, and we do really need to kind of be wrapping up. So also just had in the message from Brother Jabulani, who's mentioned that to check out a 2-part interview on Haiti with lots of interest in history and perspectives. I'd advise everyone to copy the links and have a look at that on YouTube. And what I'm going to say with the questions, because we do need to wrap up in terms of time, can you please make it short and brief and to the point? And this way, because we also have a message coming from Mama Bello and Brother Pepikai as well to get through. So if you do have a question, please make it very much to the point.
Dada
Person.
Vanya, before we go into it, because yes, Mama Bello, your time, how much longer could you kindly spare with us?
We could take another 15 minutes, let's say.
Another 15 minutes. Okay, so I'll go over to you, Dada Vanya, but I would say that, you know, from the questions that have came up in the order, maybe we can take 2 more and then we can do the wrap up, because we need to, as you said, talk about Fondation Felicite, talk about the scholarship, talk about PACM, and do the final closing ritual. Asante Sana.
Thank you. So I'm going to be going to Sister Donna Barnett. So you have a question.
Asante Sana, yes, this will be fairly quick. What's in my mind is to remember it's all, as you say, and I feel it very deeply. It's all within us, and there's been a huge job that's done, like you said. First of all, to lose our language and to separate us in all of this. And so it's a very difficult process, but I think with learning Loire, can you hear me okay? Am I coming through okay?
Didn't hear the last sentence you said.
Okay, the Loire, the understanding our function and our purpose and getting to learn these, as well as, yes, it's all within us. So singing Ibolele, it's all within us. And I feel very strongly that for the work that the MD has done and continues to do, we are still here. So as long as we are still here, we still have all of that within us to deal with this problem. This is what I very sincerely feel. It's there within us to deal with it.
Thank you for your comments.
Thanks for sharing.
Donna. So we could go to Brother Kweku's question.
Right, next person is Francine Leonard. Would you like to ask your question?
Yes. Hello, Mama Bello.
How are you, Francine?
Very good. I was, you caught my attention when you pronounced the word presence like presence. Could you explain like why you made a difference between, you know, like the way you were pronouncing the words? What, is there more meaning to that?
We were talking about force, power, puissance. Okay. In the English language, you don't really use the term puissance. You usually keep it to force and power. In the French language, they have force, power, puissance. Force is the physical imposition for change. Power is the ability to do what must be, or like set up laws and whatnot in order to change. And puissance is the capacity you have to change things without motion.
You said you have to think things without motion?
Change without motion. Mind power.
Mind power.
Okay, let's go to the next question, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Francine. And we've got final question coming from J. Kweku Lumumba.
Yes, greetings. No question, actually. Just wanted to say, aïe bobo, merci un peu, aïe bobo.
Merci. Aïe bobo. Brother Craig.
Is there anything else, brother?
No, he said what he wanted to say. Aïe bobo. Thank you.
Right. So, okay. So thank you so very much for everyone for joining in the conversation, and also for Mama Bello. I feel like as if we need so much more time to be having this conversation, but this is a start in general. And if I could just ask everyone to unmute their mics and just to give a very big, hearty round of applause, message of thanks across the internet connection and so on to Mama Bello for today's lecture. Thank you very much.
Merci. Merci, Mama Bello.
Hey, Baba. Hey, Baba.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to hand back over to Mama Bello, who is going to be talking more about her organization, as well as some of the events they've got taking place there. Then I'll pass over to Brother Ndigo Imani. So Mama Bello, if you just like to discuss that, please.
Thank you. Fondation Felicité, which is named after the wife of Jean-Jacques Dessalines.
I put it down for him to eat it.
Yeah, but the door is shut. You're in the microphone, right?
Oh, I thought I took it down and put it in.
Can everyone please mute themselves so that you can hear Mama Bello, please?
Thank you. Fondation Felicité is named after the wife of Jean-Jacques Dessalines, the first Empress of Haiti, Empress Félicité of Haiti, and whose full name was Marie-Claire Heureuse Félicité Bonheur. And this is a woman who lived for three things: education, justice, and health. And she always stick to her line. She wouldn't even accept, like the tradition was.
Hey, sis.
Hi, did you get the email from Eureka?
If your
I'm just
husband...
now opening my email, honey. What's on it?
Oh, she's talking about a meeting. I think it's today. What's the day? Yeah, today or tomorrow, about this garden or something in Nigeria.
Yeah, I'm the one who recommended that we do that.
Please, Tenda, would you put yourself on mute?
She said that they had
Excuse me, could you mute your mic, please? Thank you.
Okay.
So this is a woman who spent her life sharing health, wealth, education, and justice. Those are her areas. Even though as the practice was, if your husband is a general, they would call you La Générale. She refused that. She said, there's only one military person in our family, and that's Jean-Jacques, not me. She refused anything. When she established her home in the capital city, she made two houses, one for her, one for him, because she did not want any weapon in her house. And she says, you know, the general, he had to live in an arsenal because he has to defend the freedom that he has brought. But she didn't have to live around guns. So in her place, it was books. It was about education, justice, and health. She created what we now know in Haiti as the independence soup, which we take every January 1st. And that most Haitians don't even understand that it's more than a meal, it's a medicine. And the reason on January 1st, Independence Day, we take only that soup during the day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, whatever you want all throughout the day, you're only gonna have this. Because it's bringing to your body necessary nutrients to build up your health. So, and in the way of justice, this is a woman who would not hesitate, even if the emperor was speaking and he said something that was not correct or in accord with the law, she would stand up and say, "Excuse me, Majesty, according to our Constitution, Article such and such and such, here is what must happen." And then the emperor would have to say, "Oh, yeah, excuse me, what I meant to say was," and he would correct himself. She would not accept anyone going against the law or anyone not being just. She lived to be 110 years old and stood her ground all the time. Never buckled under, no matter how old she was, who came to say what or do. So anyway, that's why we named Fondation Félicité after her. But this year, because the group that worked on the birthday of King Henry, we decided that we would create a special fund because the French government killed François Ferdinand Henry at the age of 11 years old. His parents had sent him to France to study, paid 2 years ahead of time, paid the boarding school, paid the school, sent him with everything he needed. Well, once Napoleon could not get his father to not be part of the revolution, they killed the child, the 11-year-old child. So we decided this year we would create a special scholarship fund for that child to help 11-year-old children in Cap-Haïtien who needs their school fees paid. And that's what the fund, the GoFundMe that we have created is for that purpose. We hope to have at least be able to put 11 children in school this first year. So those are the information that we wanted to share. You have the GoFundMe too?
Yes, Mama, it's in the chat. So everybody, if you look in the chat,
okay.
you can see there a little bit of an explanation regarding the scholarship or bourse. Mama, if you could explain why you've used bourse for the scholarship in that term.
Bourse, yes. We use the term bourse because that's how you say scholarship in IT. So since it will be going around so everybody knows what we're talking about, and also so we can motivate more children to learn about François Ferdinand Henry. Because, of course, as you can suspect, his story would not be in the books since our enemies created our school and school content. So there are many important information that our children going to school cannot learn, will not learn, as long as the church has anything to do with what is taught in IT. And they always do.
That's Auntie Mama. Yeah, so as Mama explained, there's two ways that you can donate. There's a PayPal link and the GoFundMe link. Please use them. There's also the email address for Fondation Felicite in Haiti. So you can, if you want more information, please contact them, send an email, and they'll definitely reply to you and pass on some information. We'll be passing on our information as well, Pan-African Congress Movement. So you ask us, we work very closely with Fondation Felicite, obviously, and so we're happy to pass on any information that we have or point you in the right direction.
Thank you. I see Sister Yaya from Belize is here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mama Bello.
France
Yes,
is
Mama.
also here. Is that Nana Gobina?
Yes, Mama Bello.
Oh, thank you. Hopefully we'll talk this week.
Right, I believe that we've got Brother Pepikai
It'll be me, brother.
Okay.
It'll be me. Okay. So just to give you a little bit of information regarding the Pan-African Congress Movement. And I see that the questions are being asked about recording. So it's being recorded on Zoom. We're not live streaming directly onto YouTube. We will be transferring it onto YouTube later onto our PACM TV channel. So that's where you'll be able to get access to the recording of this. So bear with us, but we'll get that up as soon as we can. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen. So yes, the Pan-African Congress movement. So who are we? So we, the Pan-African Congress movement, or PACM, is a revolutionary Pan-African organization holding to the principles of and practice of race first. Revolutionary Pan-Africanism, as we define it, is the political expression which takes many forms, but always seeks to defend the humanity and sovereignty of the African masses of the world against domination and exploitation. The PACM is a national organization of the African masses, and we believe that it is only by adopting revolutionary Pan-Africanism that we can realize the aim of total liberation. The first of the 7 names of the Pan-African Congress movement, which we feel encapsulates everything that we do and why we do it, is the total and unconditional liberation of Africa, African people, and our lands worldwide under the government and protection of the United States of Africa. And I'll put into the chat our contacts so that you can contact us if you if you wish, and we will be having these emoji sessions that we call unity sessions ongoing throughout this month and ongoing, and we've been doing this for quite a while now. So let me just do that. Now there's also going to put into the chat. Yes, let me just put this. I'm just adding that into the chat. Our details. There we go. Wonderful. Right. We do have one other event, and we have one other program that we wish to just bring to your attention. So let me just share my screen again. Okay, so one of the outlets for the Pan-African Congress movement is the Pepperkai book distribution that Elder Pepperkai, who was there, or MZ Pepperkai in Kiswahili, was on screen just recently asking, putting forth a question and comment. And so this is a Pan-African bookshop that has been in existence for for decades. Has been in its current site for over 10 years, 15 years, and it's the Temple of Ma'at and Shrine of Mami Wata. That's the Ma'at Centre on 366A High Road, Tottenham, London. And there you can see the telephone number, and there's a GoFundMe because it's in need of restoration. And this is one of the key repositories of African thought, African literature, educational books with African focus in Europe. You won't find what's in there, anywhere in Europe, and in some places even in the world. We really do want it to continue, and help of the community is much needed. So the GoFundMe there's on screen, and I'm going to put that into the chat so that people can click onto the GoFundMe and read some more. And if they wish to donate, it will be truly appreciated. Okay, right. So Dada Vanya, before we go into the final ritual and closing ritual, I'll just hand over back to you.
Thank you, Indigo Imani. So that's wrapping up today's evening, and I know there's more questions coming from a number of other brothers and sisters. However, as I mentioned, we're coming to the end of the evening. Want you all to kind of thank yourself in terms of being here. Wish you all a very pleasant evening, and thank you in particular to Mama Bello in terms of sharing the knowledge and so forth. I'll now pass you over to Indigo Imani. Thank you very much, everyone.
All right. Okay, yes, Asante Sana, to Jamal. Asante sana Jamal. Yeah, so thanks very much, family. Of course, as my Dada Bayyinah said, Asante sana, Mama Bello, and do apologize, again, as my Dada Bayyinah said, if we can't take your questions now, but do send us any information or a question you have to us, and we'll try and answer you after the show. So try and keep that connection there. And so we are going to now end. We began with a ritual of the Mabadali Koyani Shati of changing the energy, and now we're going to continue with that energy. We've opened up and now to close and ask for that support as we close and part from each other. But before I do that ritual, I need to ask Mama Bello, do I have your permission to continue, Mama?
Yes, sir, you do.
Asante sana. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Okay, and Dada Bayyinah, can you see that on the screen?
Yes, we do.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, so what we're going to do is, as we began, we're going to close, and we're going to breathe together in order to center ourselves, to change that energy, absorb the energy that we've received, to acknowledge each other, acknowledge the all and the powers and the ancestors that we called into our conscious awareness, because they're always with us, never not with us, never not speaking to us, when sometimes we haven't attuned to listen and hear. But as we are, to do that, and also to part from each other in honor and respect and love until we see each other again, and we pass that love and best wishes to yourselves and to our families. In order to do that, we're going to breathe again as we did in the beginning. Mze Pepekai, are you there? Sure.
Yes, I am.
Okay, wonderful, Mze. As my elder, could you give me a number between 1 and 9 that we can use to breathe together?
7.
7, wonderful. The spiritual quantity for intuition, for higher understanding. So what we're going to do is breathe out, push out the air from our lungs, from our mouth, and then breathe in through our nose. And that's one cycle. And through that, we will use that breath of life to have that vibration, continue that vibration and pass to each other in this Pan-African beautiful meeting that we have. So I'll begin and I'll count so that we can stay in tune. So if you wish to take part, please do. And what we do is we sit straight so that our spine is straight, so that our 7 energy centers, or as the Indus Kush called the chakras, are in line. Feet flat on the floor, palm of our hands on our thighs, and eyes open or closed as we wish. But if you don't want to take part and you just want to listen, that's absolutely fine. African spirituality is not about coercion. So, if we begin, we breathe out. Relax the stomach and breathe in through the nose. Moja. Breathe out. Relax, breathe in through the nose. Mbili. Breathe out. Relax, breathe in through the nose. Tatu. Breathe out. Relax, breathe in. In there. Breathe out. Relax, breathe in. Tana. Breathe out. Relax, breathe in. And breathe out. Finally, breathe in. Saba. Now that we're centered in that one accord and vibration, we're going to focus on the words of power and manifestation on screen. As I said before, be careful what we say, because what we say we bring into reality based on our character and our intent. So I'm going to speak, and if you wish to, please repeat after me. Mapenzi wote ni mapenzi yangu.
Mapenzi
Penzi wote
ni mapenzi
yangu.
Hakuna mwanzo na hakuna mwisho.
Hakuna mwanzo na hakuna mwisho.
Naomba ufahamu.
Naomba ufahamu
Wangu ya wote.
wangu ya wote.
Uendelee kukua.
Uendelee kukua.
Nguvu zote kwa watu wetu.
Nguvu zote kwa watu wetu.
Anuk, amen.
Anuk, amen.
The will of the all is my will. There is no beginning and there is no end. May my understanding of the all continue to grow. All power to our people. I am amen. I am that undefined, all-powerful power underpinning all things. Asante sana, Jamal.
Yeah, au revoir. Now we're being
Porto bien, Marie.
Asante.
Thank you very much to everyone. Thank you.
Solidarity forever.
Yes, please. Yes. Please say your goodbyes, everyone, as you wish. Asante. Kwaheri ni asante sana.
Kwaheri, everybody.
I'll see you all.
Lala salama.
Bye.
Noah Pia. That means and you too as really.
Take great care. Have a powerful week.
You too.
Thank you.
Yes, please. Just come off mute if you wish to speak. If you want to say something, you want to say goodbye to the gathering.
Thank you, and everyone, have a good evening and goodbye. Greetings, Brother.
Yes, Brother Coffee Cruise in the gathering. Could you pass on my number and ask him to give me a call?
Coffee Cruise.
Yes.
I
don't know if he's left.
I think he has left now. I don't see him in the group anymore at MZ Pepperkai. Okay.
No worries.
No problem. Okay. All right. Dada Vanya, thank you so much. You did a wonderful job. Thank you.
It was an honor. Thank you, everybody, and take care. Goodbye.
Kwaheri.
Take great care.
Love to all FF, Mama. We'll speak.
Thank you.
Yeah. As I said. Bye.